Is everybody in front? Jake will not be. All right, we have to do the whole staring at it in front of it.
Did you go live yet? Mine's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's still showing me the orange square.
Yeah, it just says in stream and there's a live red button in the corner. Try and refresh your screen.
There we go.
Testing, testing.
All right.
Ready?
Jake's sitting all the way down there. That's fine. Bring this up. All right, it is 6:32. I'll call the meeting to order. Do I have a motion to approve the January 14th, 2026 Benton Township minutes?
Motion to approve the January 14th, 2026 Benton Township minutes.
Second.
Okay, we'll vote by roll call. Dodds?
Aye.
McInerney?
Aye.
Husk? Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have our report, starting with the financial report.
Okay, so I'm doing a financial report for the month of January 2026 for our new Township Roads and Infrastructure Fund. We have 0 month-to-date expenses, 0 year-to-date expenses, 0 remaining approved budget, and 0 cash balance. In our rainy day fund, we had 0 expenses in January, leaving our year-to-date expenses of 0, an approved budget of 0, and cash balance of $43,254.85. In our township fund, in January, we spent $3,312.89, having our year-to-date expenses of $3,312.89, a remaining approved budget of $111,687.11, and a remaining cash balance of $105,679.40. In our township assistance fund, we had expenses of $324.40, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $324.40, a remaining approved budget of $19,675.60, and cash balance of $122,813.43. In our recreation fund, we spent $344.82, leaving our year-to-date expense of $344.82, and a remaining approved budget of $6,155.18, and a cash balance of $13,149.92. In our COVID donation fund, we have still remaining steady at $452.22. In our township donation fund is still at 0. And our volunteer fire department donation fund is at $3,378.70. We did receive our local income tax, which is about $100 less than what we got last year. This year and next year are going to be low numbers, and if the Monroe County Council passes the maximum allocation for townships, that number should start going up as of 2028. So our monthly amount this year is $1,382.83 a month, and our Trust Indiana account earned $701.86. Is there any questions from the board?
No questions?
None.
All right, hearing none, we'll do I have a motion to approve the financial report?
A motion to approve the financial report.
Second.
All right, we'll do a vote by roll call. Dodds?
Aye.
McInerney?
Aye.
Husk? Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have the trustees report.
Okay, regarding the status of the North Tunnel Road property, John Bethel Title Company was not able to get to this research by the end of January, is what we had hoped. I will touch base with them at the end of February. I have also followed up with Monroe County School Corporation to see if they have any updates, but as of today, they have not returned my call. And I have updated the resident regarding both of these items. Monroe Fire Protection District, I reached out to them to see what the status is of our donation from last fall. Chief Dillard responded, due to year-end activities, this project was slated to begin at the start of the year. We have solicited updated quotes and are currently awaiting their return. The equipment will be ordered shortly after we receive the quotes. I will provide you with an update as soon as the order has been placed. The only other thing I had was for Danny Smith Park. They have not submitted any receipts for payment for last year. Historically, we have invited them to attend a meeting in the spring to make requests for that year. Is this something that we still want to do? It would normally be in March or April because the season ends in May. However, I feel like we had a pretty good plan with our discussions last year about last year and this year requests. So.
And they've submitted no. Understood.
Have they done any of the projects that you're aware of?
Yeah, I reported on it
That's
a
right,
few
yeah.
months ago that they had done some, and I was fully expecting some reimbursement requests and by the end of December, and I never received any. So I will make a note to reach out to them to see if we can expect anything for last year's projects.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing more, I would love to hear a update on the status of the projects themselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
So do you want me to propose attending the next board meeting as an update to the projects that were discussed, as well as to discuss any potential future projects?
Sure, I think that'd be a great idea. Board agree?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was all I had.
Do I have a motion to approve the trustees report?
Motion to approve the trustees report.
Second.
We'll vote by roll call. Dodds?
Aye.
McInerney?
Aye.
Husk? Aye. Motion carries. And finally, under reports, the last one, we have the Township Assistance Report.
Okay, on January 16th, we received a call asking for help with a gas bill. And this person did complete an application. They were granted assistance with their gas bill. So this will be the first approved application that we've had in several months. So glad we were able to make that happen. And then towards the end of the month, I received a call from someone who lives in Meadmore, which is in Brown County. So I referred them to the Jackson Township trustee in Brown County. I've also started designating what was an application and if the request was in Benton Township that we knew of, or definitely outside of Benton Township.
Yeah, I see that in the notes. I like that.
And that was it.
Right, board have any questions?
No.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the Township Assistance Report?
I motion to approve the township assistance report.
Second.
All right, we'll vote by roll call. Dodds?
Aye.
McInerney? Husk? Aye. Motion carries. And then under old board business, we do have one agenda item, and that is the township consolidation discussion that was mentioned with some of the legislative updates as well that we received.
Yeah, so both House Bill 1315, which seeks to eliminate township government, as well as Senate Bill 270, which seeks to consolidate township government, have passed to their respective houses. I, embarrassingly enough, did not know a lot about the legislative process until this year. And so they have both gone through 3 readings in each of their sides, and now they're switched over to be passed by the other side. I will say Senate Bill 270 did have their hearing yesterday. It was quite lengthy. And the questions are definitely very poignant, and I mean, the folks are asking very tough questions and having tough discussions. So I was hoping to kind of listen into the testimony as well as the questions and the comments from all of these sessions to summarize them for you, just because I think it's interesting to know the points on both sides. However, I was not able to get that done today, but we should know, I believe the deadline for this session is very soon. So I would imagine by the next board meeting, we'll be able to know more. One of the questions that I had last week was, or last month, would we want to consolidate with the city of Bloomington, which we are not contiguous? And so the answer to that is no, we cannot do that. So if House Bill 1315 were to come to fruition and be signed by the governor, we would have to consolidate with the county, and we are not allowed to voluntarily go through the voluntary consolidation process during an election year. So if House Bill 1315 passed, then we would basically, that would be a done deal for us. Because that is population based, we are under that 6,700 cap. It is based on if we have a fire department or not. And I will say that the numbers for township assistance are pretty tight. I calculated it out to be 196%, whereas that threshold is 200%.
Okay.
But there is some talk about possibly kind of combining the two bills together. So anyway, like I said, I've got a lot that we can talk about next month. Once we know if either one of these is moving forward. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about outside of these bills and kind of a forced elimination / consolidation? Do you want to discuss any ideas you have about voluntary consolidation? Things I think about.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I really have a grasp of it right now.
And I think that, any discussion that we have might be, irrelevant if HB 1315 passes. So, we may have some academic discussions on, who would we want to consolidate with, but the consolidation has to be with a contiguous township. So that would leave Washington,
Bloomington, and Salt Creek.
Okay.
What was, and you said you can't volunteer to do it on an election year?
Yes, because if we consolidated prior to the election, they would have to change the ballot.
So that means it wouldn't happen until 27, basically?
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to enter into any formal agreements or sign paperwork. However, we could start those discussions this year.
Right.
It just can't be formalized.
And if it was forced, then the state would just make that decision for the townships.
Yes.
In all the townships.
Yes.
So you had said earlier that some townships have already done this voluntarily?
Discussions, right?
Or
Yeah,
just discuss?
Yeah, one of the pointed questions was somebody said, well, why, I forget how it was phrased, but it was like, the comment was made that, well, townships can take advantage of, I'm not sure what they called it, but there is current legislation that allows for voluntary consolidations. And so the person said, and how long has this legislation been out there? And I'm not great with the year. I don't remember what the year is, but it wasn't like last year. It was probably before COVID. And they said, well, how many townships have taken advantage of this voluntary consolidation? And the person said 9 out of 1,000 townships. So I think that gave the legislators a sense of townships aren't really having these conversations on their own, and that they need to be a little more strong-armed about it.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a pickle though, if they want you to have the conversation, but you can't do it until next year anyway. They're not really giving you a whole lot of options, are they? Because if they're either putting it off, I guess they're putting it off, or they're eliminating you entirely, are your two options, right? There's not really a voluntary option, which is maybe the point of it all.
Well, that's only if HB 1315 passes, but they may merge. I'm assuming the Senate bill has a little bit different language in it, so.
Yeah, so So Senate Bill 270 would be something different. So the Department of Local Government Finance next spring would send out a report of here are the townships that meet the scoring criteria that could be merged. And then it goes to the county commissioners to meet with the trustees and for us to handle it on kind of a local level of, okay, we need to make sure that the senior center is taken care of. What is our best option for doing that? Gosh darn, I had a really good thought. And then it's up to kind of the local level to decide that. But that's what I was thinking of. It's been really interesting to, the Indiana Township Association has a weekly legislative update and people are kind of presenting their unique situation. And like, there's one township that has a rural water company and they're like, great, if we're consolidated, who's going to make sure that people have water? So it's been really interesting to listen to. I think our situation is pretty straightforward. We don't have one or more towns or cities that, we are contiguous to, and so anyway, it's just been really interesting. And like I said, I was going to type everything up. Do you want me to, well, I got through the first part of the first session, but I think the whole goal is modernization of government and efficiencies as it relates. And one of the things that really spoke to me was, we have a lot of people that call into the township and number one, they get voicemail. I call them back oftentimes like within an hour, but, and so I call them back and that may, number one, I might not be able to get them the next time I call them because of, their phone situation or maybe, they're at someone else's house. But if I do get a hold of them, they may have only had that energy to make that one phone call. And, that was kind of it. And then there are some township trustees that don't pick up the phone at all. I get several complaints a year with people not being able to get a hold of their township trustees. But having it more global, like a regional township, you're going to have, staffed people there that, and answer the phone the first time you call. And, there's some disadvantages too, I feel like, but again, I can kind of see both sides. I can see why consolidation would be good, and I can, there's less trustees to steal money and, make sure that people are training and doing the right things, and there's more accountability and more reporting. But again, for us, I don't know, I feel like we do a good job, but that might not always be the case here either.
Right, and the driving force is probably those that aren't. That's the momentum. Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to really be determined. It's going to determine on how this kind of shakes out roughly by the end of this month or so.
And the other thing I was thinking of is if we do move towards thinking about this voluntarily, we would be able to, I think, to work with somebody and have, more of a say in what happens. Whereas if we're like the fourth or fifth township that's consolidating with a unit, they might say, well, this is what we've done with all the other townships. We're not going to do it the way that you want to. So anyway, it's a hard topic. And again, it's not something that I think that we're going to come to a decision easily.
Right.
Or quickly.
Well, the other question is, are they looking at, two townships merging, or are we talking about, all of the townships in our area merging together, or two different ones, a north and a south, or an east and a west, or a, quadrant-based? Has there been any indication on, what they're looking at?
Well, so House Bill 1315, if passed, according to my figures, would affect 7 out of the 11 townships, which is basically the rural townships, the donut townships. 270, if it were passed, there would be a lot of townships that would get some points, and I feel like that's reasonable. We would get some points. There's one township on the south side that I feel like would be forced to consolidate. I know that for sure. And I don't have access to all the data that the Department of Local Government and Finance does, so I don't know if people are doing their annual report on time or their budget on time, or if they're filling out their monthly and yearly engagement. So that was just based on the publicly available data that I had.
And according to the Senate bill, that would give you more points, right, for being late for those things?
Yes.
You mentioned that last time. Well, I mean, this is all academic. It's interesting, and we'll see where it goes. Board have any other thoughts, discussions?
So 1315, we're gone as we know it. 270, there might be some, we might have some input. Is that, do I understand that?
Yeah, so House Bill 1315, I believe that we would be right on that edge of having to be consolidated. So I feel like, according to my figures, I could see how maybe we could stay in, but that was a question I asked at the last legislative session is, if we make it through this year, you know, and they're like, who's to say they're not going to repeat it again, or maybe wait a few years and do it again. So the other thing that's important to say is this consolidation for either bill would take place January 1st, 2028.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, I see kind of both sides of it, you know. I see it as potentially a good thing, but also potentially a bad thing. Okay. All right, anything else? All right, so we'll move on to new board business, and we have our annual report.
Yeah, so I provided the board a copy of the annual report. It is not submitted yet. That's usually the case during this meeting. I'll take another week just to verify all the numbers, even though I've verified them twice before. But I'll just go ahead. You want me to go through?
I think the highlights of it, if you want.
Okay. Page 2 is
unless the board wants the full.
Highlights would be great.
Page 2 is our cash and investments from January 1st to December 31st. This will be published in the paper. Page 3, I don't know why there are so many blank pages in this year. Page 4 is kind of a culmination of our categories. So, this is receipts. So this is our receipt breakdown according to each fund. So how much we received for general property taxes in the township fund, for license excise in the fund, how much for lit in the fund. So that's on page 4. Page 5 is a blank. Page 6 kind of chunks together what you normally get in your monthly budget report, where salaries and wages and other personal services are a category 1, our office supplies, operating supplies, and other supplies are a category 2. So this is just kind of a more general view of what you get every month, and then a total at the bottom. So that's page 6 and 7. Page 8 is a listing of disbursements by fund, by category, and by vendor. So the first one is our rainy day fund, and you can see the capital outlays fund. That was part of our donation to the Monroe Fire Protection District for EMS equipment. And then next goes to our township fund, and then it breaks down by category of personal services, who was paid, and then how much they were paid. So this is on page 8, page 9, and page 10, and page 11. So all of this information, once I submit the report, is going to be public record. You can look for it on the transparency portal. All right, disbursements by fund with departments. So this is just, again, another look at the figures. Page 13 is how I calculated our fund types, which they don't really give a lot of instruction for how to do this, but I did the best I could with the instructions that were provided. Page 14 is our debt statement, which we have none. Page 15 is our deficit fund balances, which we have none. Page 16 is our leases, which we have none. Page 17 is any transfers in and out of funds, which sometimes you do in order to cover a negative cash balance, but we have had none. And then page 18 is our capital assets list. So non-depreciable assets are land, and then government activities, depreciable assets are primarily buildings and improvements. So this would be things like increasing the drainage over on that side of the property, paving this side, things like that. And then machinery, equipment, and vehicles, we have things like the dishwasher, we have the computer, things like that. And then the accumulated depreciation section, that's all very confusing. But additions means for things that you currently have. We didn't purchase anything that was considered a capital asset. And then the reductions are anything that was gotten rid of, which again, we don't really have very many capital assets. So they did change the format of this table a few years ago. I think it's incredibly confusing. But I do have the Excel spreadsheet that has all the data underneath it in case you're interested. Page 19 is accounts payable and receivable, which we have none. Page 20 is the financial assistance to non-government entities, which for 2025 was the Unionville Senior Citizens Organization. So we paid their liability insurance in the amount of $562. This is kind of something that we do for them annually since they do not have the funds to pay for that. And so we did not have Danny Smith Park on our report this year because we have not paid for anything yet. Page 21 starts our township assistance report. Do you want me to go ahead and read through that?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay. This report's a lot better than what it used to be, but it can still be kind of confusing. So first off, we're required to publish our name of the township trustee and our phone number. So item number 1, total request for township assistance is 47. We've been keeping track of that throughout the year. And then I'm going to skip to 2B because that seems to make more sense. The total number of households containing recipients of township assistance was 7. And then going up to 2A, the total number of recipients of township assistance was 13. So just to repeat, we had 7 households that impacted 13 people that received township assistance. The number of individuals denied township assistance was 0. And a denial for me means that they've made the application and that we have denied them. The total value of benefits provided to the recipients of township assistance, now this comes from township funds, was $9,507. The total value of benefits denied to individuals applied for township assistance is 0. And the total value of benefits provided through efforts of township staff from sources other than township funds. So here we helped 2 people apply for food stamps. And so this is the value of the food stamp benefit that they would receive. So with the next section, again, I'm going to switch over to the total number receiving utility assistance households. We had 4, and the number of recipients is 5. We had a lot of single person households this year. Total number of recipients in receiving utility assistance from sources other than township funds is 0. The total value of benefits provided by payment of utilities through township sources was $1,297. This would be things like electric, propane, and water. Non-township sources is 0, and then all utilities is $1,297. Again, for housing assistance, we have 4 people that we assisted. 4 households that we assisted for a total of 5 recipients. Skipping over to 8I, the value of assistance that we provided was $7,045, and that came all from township funds. The total number of people that received food assistance was 1 person, 1 household, and 1 person. But then we have total number of recipients assisted by township staff and receiving food assistance from sources other than township funds is 2. So now we're going to jump back to the value of food assistance by township sources was $214.98. but the value for food assistance from non-township sources was $2,261.40. And so the total value provided was $2,476.38. For healthcare, we had 0 households and 0 recipients, so I'm going to skip that section. The total number of funerals, burials, and cremations was 1 at $950. That was at cost. Going to section 15, the total nights of emergency shelter were 0. Number 16 was the total number of referrals for township assistance applicants to other programs. We do that a lot. It was 130 between our applicants, and the value of services in making referrals to the other programs. So if each applicant took advantage of all the referrals that we gave them, that would be a value of $42,092.50. Now, the big chunk of that is going to be the Rural Repairs Housing Program, which was $20,000. Total number of training programs and job placements for township assistance recipients is 0. Total amount of work fare that was reported was 0. Total amount, item 20, total amount of reimbursement from recipients, households, or estates was 0. Total amount of recipients through medical programs is 0. Number of individuals assisted through a representative payee program was 0. 23A, number of individuals assisted through special non-traditional programs provided through the township without the expenditure of township funds. Actually, I'm going to say that this is going to be $50 because we administer the giving out Monroe Colony solid waste orange trash bags. And other years, this would have been holiday baskets where someone like the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts or private individuals sponsor a family for Thanksgiving or Christmas. We have not had that for the last few years. This would have also been our food pantry in the past, which we have not had for the past few years. So total amount of non-township funds used to provide special programs, again, that's going to be 50. I'm going to guess. I need to look at the sheet actually. Total number of hours an investigator of township assistance spends on case management. So if we still had someone who worked in the office, this would be kind of their work that they spend on township assistance. However, because the trustee is salaried, this doesn't get counted in here. So it's just part of my job. Total number of housing inspections performed by the township is also 0. So, and then the last question in our last page, page 24, involves our pensions, and we offer no pensions or benefits here. So does the board have any questions about the annual report?
No question.
No.
None.
Okay, so we've got a sheet. It's very complicated. I'm not joking. This is also going to be published in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And they will literally scan your signature. So just be aware that's going to be published in the paper. So Chairman Husk, this is subscribed and sworn or affirmed to me, the chairman of the Township Board of Benton Township at its annual meeting this blank day of blank 2026. So you're going to want to sign, and then I'm going to fill in Benton for you. And then if the board chooses to accept my annual report, you will sign under option 1. The report was received, accepted, and approved by the Township Board at its annual meeting. Or if it's rejected, option 2, the report was received, accepted, and approved, except for the following parts. So would you like to take any action?
Board want to negate, I guess, any of the parts of the annual report?
No.
All right, so I guess we will be going with option 1. The report was received, accepted, and approved by the Benton Township Board on this date. Just go ahead and make a motion. Do I have a motion to approve the annual report in full?
Motion to approve the annual report in full.
Second.
All right, we'll vote by roll call. Dodds?
Aye.
McInerney?
Aye.
Husk? Aye. We are all in agreement for option 1.
I did write out your names because they will ask me.
Okay. Now where it says Benton Township, which one, was that, Benton Township, I see what you're doing, okay. See if my best signature.
There.
Do you want to go ahead and write my name in there so you can get it there? Just a half, just so it's there for consistency. All right, seeing that we have nobody in attendance for public comment, it is 7:07. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
By roll call, Dodds?
Aye.
McInerney?
Aye.
Husk? Aye. Motion passes. We are adjourned.
I forgot to mention that I have all the files in.
Oh, God. Well, if you want to take this home and review.